yeah, you have to sacrifice, but everything in life is a compromise. What you spend your time on doing for one thing, you can't do on another thing. The opportunity cost of everything is there. So you just have to pick what you deem is the best use of your time and your resources and go for it.
Yeah, and it's like, well, how do you figure that out?
Well, that's what economists have been trying to do for hundreds of years. That's a very, very good question, and that could take a while. It's also, I think, a lot down to people's risk management. Some people are completely risk averse and they never leave their hometown, which is fair enough. If they're happy, they're happy. They get married, have kids, live a really, really functional, enjoyable life, full life, and that's good for them. But for other people, for me, risk is part of life. Like without risk, there's no major reward. So the riskier a venture is, the bigger possible payout, but then also the bigger loss. So you just have to try and balance it out. I think everybody's different.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, this is something I get a lot of messages from people asking about this very sort of topic of, they're wanting to make a change or they're wanting to do something, and it's it's not even like going off and spending 6 years traveling around the world. So often it's quite small changes that we're such creatures of habit that it's actually quite terrifying to take that next step, which is why the way that you talk about it is very kind of almost throwaway with it, but there's so much consideration and so much emotion has gone through that decision making process to get to that point. And it's like, I know that people will be listening in who are on the cusp of taking that risk or jumping or wanting to jump, and I'm feeling too scared to, because there's always that what if, and it's like society teaches us that we need security, that we need all of these things behind us, and that we need to live in a set way, and it's very, very hard. I know it from my own life as well. It's very, very hard to step outside of that mold and empower yourself to take that change, isn't it?
It is, but every journey starts with the first step. So you've sometimes just got to go for it. And the other way, how I always rationalize it to myself is that, like, I'm a teacher by profession. I can always be a teacher. I can always come back and get another job, or I could always move, but I can't always do these amazing adventures. Like society's built for us to be able to come back and work. So what have you got to lose? At the end of the day, you might just lose a couple of years of savings or whatever if it doesn't work out. Most of the time you can return to the life that you had before, maybe in a slightly different guise, but it's there. The safety net is there. We're lucky to live in economies and that where, yeah, if you get sick, you can go to a hospital, et cetera, et cetera. You're not just going to die on the street. So sometimes you just have to go for it. That's my opinion, is just take the risk, and the rewards are exponential.
Yeah, and I think this is such a powerful message, I think, particularly at this time, because we're just kind of coming through the end, hopefully the end of a pandemic, where a lot of people, a lot of people have faced change during this time, and are now facing the repercussions of this time in terms of like the evolution of workplace, of working environments.
Yep.
And things. I mean, it's like, how do you adapt to that change, like from going from the teaching environment into quite an extreme environment at times?
Basically, I take my suit and tie off, I put some board shorts and some flip-flops, and I wave to the people on the dock. That's pretty much it. I know it's kind of harder to come back into it, I think. So when, after traveling for 6 years, having to really wear shoes again was a bit of a challenge, because your feet splay out on the boat, and yeah, just getting back into the routine of being a teacher and the marking and all that sort of stuff, that is like much harder than actually going, all right, I've saved enough money, I'm good, I'm going, I've got enough cash or whatever to last for 2 or 3 years, and then go and see what happens. It's the returning to society that's more difficult than leaving it for me.
Yeah, and what is it? What's so hard about coming back?
Just the routine, I think, just the day-to-day grind. It's hard. Like I can only really teach from a talk from a teaching perspective, but yeah, it's exhausting. Just had probably one of the hardest weeks of my teaching career last week. And yeah, just you're knackered all the time. And the difference is, when you go adventuring, you just seem to have so much energy. Like you cannot squeeze enough into a day when you're in Tahiti. But I find when I'm working, sometimes I'm like, I just want it to be Friday. I just want to have Saturday off so that I can watch some Netflix in the morning.
Yeah, this is Daz telling me off for never relaxing.
Never ever stopping, just constantly charging on.
Yeah, well, I think this is, this is what is, a lot of us fall into this trap, isn't it, of like actually just not being able to stop. There's always stuff to do. There's always things to do. And I think we so often don't put our own needs first. We're always putting other people's needs first, or, trying to beat the rat race, or, keep up with the rat race. So stepping away from that and onto, a journey like yours is so brave. But it's the way that it's what I find fascinating is that the way that you talk about your journey and your adventure is like so much more chilled out than actually your, where you are now, everyday life as a maths teacher.
Yeah, it is and it isn't. I think I like the change. I sort of have 3 to 4 years of doing one thing, and then I require, just from the way that I'm built, I need to do something new and exciting, because I don't deal with boredom very well.
Yeah. And so have you got any other trips planned for the future?
Well, I have been invited to sail around the world again in January 2023. So that's sort of something I'm really looking at the moment and working towards. But then again, it's this cost benefit analysis. I live in Switzerland. In 3 weeks' time, the ski season starts, so I can snowboard pretty much every day. I earn really, really good money. So it's kind of balancing out, like, how long do I need to work for to save enough money to do the various things before you get caught with the golden handcuffs, we call them, before you get so used to earning this money that you're like, I can never leave it. There's a chapter in my book about being on the hamster's wheel, and just a lot of people, I think, in life just stay in the same place, and they work harder and harder and just buy more and more stuff that they don't need. And the only way they can pay for that is to do more and more work. And I think there needs to be, if you want to, for me, if you really want to travel, you need to try and move away from the sort of commercialism and consumerism lifestyle, and understand that the time that you spend working is like crystallized time. It's like the equivalent of oil. That's the sun saved for millennia. The money that you earn is your time, that the time that you spend getting that money is precious. So you have to spend that money preciously as well.
It's so true. The way you summarize that, isn't it? Because it's like, time is energy, and time, it's our most precious
and
thing.
time's marching on. It literally, it feels like the term has just started, and now we're half term. It's like 6 weeks in. And I think as you get older, time just seems to go so much quicker. It's crazy. Like, I can literally remember getting on the boat, buying my boat for the first time, and that's 10 years ago now.
Wow. Yeah, it does seem like, because I remember you just going off. I remember having these conversations with you before you left, and it doesn't seem that long ago. It's mad, isn't it?
It is mad. And I've been back for almost 3-4 years now. So since sailing around the world, it's been 4 years. And I'm like, how has that gone so quickly?
Yeah.
Whereas I can remember almost every single day for 27 months of when I was sailing. So yeah, I think the incredible thing about taking the leap of faith sometimes to go on these big adventures is that they are memories forever. Like, your memories you will have until, hopefully, until you get very old and maybe Alzheimer's kicks in, but that's another problem, because then you're just, every day will be really exciting again. But money, just, you can lose it all. It can all be gone. And without any experiences, I think for me, I call them travel tokens. All the money I earn is for adventures and to have fun in life, because life's too short.
Yeah, and because on your journeys as well, you've come across, people that are either circumnavigating or doing long trips with families as well. Because that's, a lot of people that I meet are like, well, we couldn't go and do anything like that because, we've got families, we've got responsibilities. But I know that from your books that you've come across families that are doing similar sorts of journeys.
Yeah, I think that's absolute rubbish. I think if you've got the ability to plan and you keep your eye on the prize and you want to do something, then there's absolutely nothing that stops you. There were families with like 2-year-olds and 4-year-olds. There was a family with 2 twins who were in their like 10 and 12. Yeah, if you want to do it, you can do it. I think a lot of people, you occasionally use these things as excuses and sort of like a cop out. No, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. At the end of the day, it's your decision. I mean, I have it tattooed on my chest. You're free to forge your own reality. And I truly believe that. Like, if you really want to do something, then there should be no excuses. You can get it done.
Yeah. Is there anything else? Is there any other like advice that you'd like? Because I think, I love the way that you see the world. It's always such a positive way, but also very, very grounded with that as well. And I think, you know, so much of what you're saying is going to resonate with a lot of people that are maybe like a bit hesitant to take that next step in, you know, whatever it is, whether it's career, whether it's adventure, whether it's life. I mean, is there anything else that you've kind of learned through your journeys that you think that's an important part?
I just think if it all seems too daunting, like it is the first step. Just take a little step. Instead of going and running a marathon, go for a walk around the park. You have to start somewhere. That's the thing. And if you keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, it'll be no time before you're like slurping on a peach in your rocking chair somewhere. Like life is so short. Unfortunately, like a lot of members of, I think this has probably changed my perspective. A lot of members of my family have died quite young, sort of in their 50s, and lots of friends, etc. It's just, we only here for a short time, a really, really, really finite period of time, and you have to make the best of it. And owning 7 cars and spending thousands on jewelry, and you can't take it with you, but the one thing that you've got with you for your whole life is your experiences.
Yeah, and making those memories.
Exactly, and meeting cool people and just living life. For me, I don't need much. I sat down the other day, I do a lot of hiking here, and I was like, what truly makes me happy? And I was like, as long as I'm comfortable, I've got somewhere to stay, I'm fed and watered, occasionally a nice cold beer is good, and I've got books to read. That's like my minimum requirement for happiness. Everything else above that is a bonus. So yeah, just I think look at the way that you spend your money, look at the way that you spend your time, and just think about, is that the best way for you to do it, really?
And take risks.
And take risks, of course. Life's full of risks. The bigger the risks, the bigger the reward.
That's awesome. So you're currently working on another book, aren't you? Which is very
I
exciting.
am currently working on like a kid's version of
I don't know
these.
if this is a secret or not.
No. Well, what's in it is a secret. But yeah, I'm currently working on a kid's version of these books about a young boy and a girl who go adventuring on their uncle's boat around the world. So yes, again, it was supposed to be about 40,000 words, and it's just morphed into an absolute monster. So I think it's going to take a while. It's difficult when you're at school. Like these books I wrote during my holidays. So the summer holiday, 9 weeks, I was writing for 12 to 16 hours a day. Every holiday I had to get them finished. But yeah, this next project's going to be another beast, but it's all good. I love doing it. I really, really enjoy writing. And I just hope to motivate some people to do some cool things. If you do read my books and you like them, let me know. Please get in contact. That would be awesome. It's always good to have feedback. And yeah, if you've got any questions, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, or yeah, I'm sure Megan will send out all these details.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Daz. I mean, I always think that your view on life is just incredible. You're one of the rare, beautiful souls in the world that has this just incredible way of seeing the world, and you know, wanting to share that with people as well. And it's an incredible gift. And you know, I'm incredibly proud to be your friend, and I can't wait to see where you go next on your adventures. And it's like, yeah, be following along. But thank you so much for your time. I know that this is going to be well received by a lot of people.
Straight back at you. You are one of the most unique people I've ever met. You bring a lot of joy and happiness and amazing things to this world. So yeah, it's well, an honor for me to be your friend, and thank you very much for this interview. It's most appreciated.